Hello, hello. I hope everyone's doing well. This video is going to give a brief introduction to project number one, which is variation of line. But before we get too deep into that, I want to pitch a basic idea that is going to run as a common thread throughout every project and assignment that you do this semester. Now, this semester, being that this is two-dimensional design, the emphasis is all design. And for that, I am going to be leaning into a two-part theory that I want you to test. And by that, I mean every project and assignment that is assigned, I want you to lean into these two questions and see if they hold weight. Now, those two questions. Part one of the theory. Everything is saying something at all times. I'll repeat that. Everything is saying something at all times. Part two, we have a unique ability to intuitively interpret what is being said without really having to formally process the content. Now, for right now, let's talk about part one. Everything is saying something at all times. Everything means everything. That's a lot of thing. This means that not only the words that we speak and write, and the things that we listen to and read, but also the clothes that we wear, whether or not you live in an area that has sidewalks, the color, lines, and shapes of food packaging, the interiors of spaces, be it stores or domestic spaces, all of these entities are saying something at all times. You can think of it pretty simply. A property that is perfectly well manicured, the lawn is exquisite, says something drastically different than a property that is unkempt and overgrown. Now, I say that not to establish some form of a hierarchy as to say like one is better than the other, but they're saying very different things. As artists and designers, we work to understand what is being said so that we can create work, images, moving images, and designs that speak specifically to the ideas, the intentions, and the goals that we have. In a very superficial way, we understand this basic concept that everything is saying something at all times. If you want to get the job, so to speak, it's a pretty bad idea to show up to your interview with halitosis, bedhead, wearing your pajamas, and being like 10 minutes late. This composition of yourself and how you would be presenting yourself in that situation very easily reads as someone who is more interested in sleep than work. And it sends a message to the potential employer that you as an employee might be a risk factor for laziness, or you might lack the attention of detail that would be required for you to efficiently do the job. So now what would happen then if we were to like get rid of the halitosis, the bedhead, and the pajamas and replace it all with, a really elegant design? You've taken care of your hygiene, and you showed up instead of 10 minutes late, you showed up 10 minutes early. Again, I know that we're talking about art and design, but this is still design. How you present yourself is a design process. Now, you're well dressed, you smell good, and you're there on time. All things are looking good. Question then. Is there a difference between whether or not you're wearing stripes, polka dots, or plaid? Is there a difference between bright pink plaid and subdued red plaid? And is there a difference between plaid and flannel? All of these are design elements that communicate very, very different things. And on a very fundamental level, we intuitively interpret this information, process it, and form opinions without knowing that we're even doing so. An example of this would be, now it's actually very, very well understood, and most people know this. Colors that drive appetite, red and yellow. It is a very, very difficult task to try and come up with an example of a fast food company that does not have either the color red or yellow in it. However, most people, when they're in the fast food joint, don't really think about the aesthetics or the design of the place. They're just in there to get their food. And there's a reason for that, because the design structures at play operate so seamlessly that we don't even know that we're hungry until we see that sign. And we don't even know what we're going to order until the jingle pops up into our head. And we're not even really concerned about the fact that we have a terrible stomach ache and we want to get out of there as fast as possible. Again, that's part of the aesthetics of the place. Now, in preparation for the first assignment, variation of line, I want you to watch a video by V.S. Ramachandran. It's called The Language of Synesthesia. Now, synesthesia is a very nuanced term, and it is a term that is used to describe the blending of senses. Now, V.S. Ramachandran, he is a linguist at heart, a neurologist and linguist. He's trying to essentially understand what it means for humans to be able to communicate and how that process evolved through culture and society. The experiment that he presents is called Kiki and Booba. And essentially what the video is attempting to expose is that based in simple aesthetic terms, be it auditory or visual or story-based, meaning a narrative, we intuitively have responses that are consistent. And again, as designers, we are trying to study those consistencies so that we can effectively create the work that we want to make. If you're wanting to make work that reflects on hope, and you start to use bright reds, short staccato lines, and very aggressive textures, it's not going to evoke hope. So understanding the aesthetic systems that are at play will help us get to the place that we actually want, are able and successful at creating the work that we want to make. So watch that video. After you watch that video, just mark it as viewed, just the same as this one. Mark this as viewed. And then read the project description thereafter. And we'll get going on project number 1.